What they are is they're essentially long exposure photographs using the moon as a light source. I kind of figured out doing this about 5 years ago when I was in Canmore at my parents' place, and we went out late one night and I was lying on my back, and it was a full moon, or lying on my back in a field staring at the sky, because you can see the stars amazing from out there, and I was trying to take a photograph of the full moon, and so I was holding the camera up at the sky trying to take a photograph, but it was automatic, so it was a long exposure, and I kind of moved my hand around, and when I looked at the image, it was like I'd made a drawing with the moon, and after that I just kind of immediately became obsessed with it and did it on and off for a long time. These ones here I actually made all in the winter of 2009, January, February 2009, in Canmore and Banff when I was doing a work study at the Banff Centre. And they're actually shot on medium format film through a rangefinder camera. So I didn't know the results until I developed the film, but what the rangefinder allowed for is to actually be able to see the moon while it's exposing in order to be able to keep the moon within the center of the frame. So it allowed me that kind of control. I just find it really interesting because it's kind of like there are certain factors you can control and there are certain factors you can't control, and dependent upon kind of the clearness of the night sky and how low the moon is in the sky and what cycle the moon is in, you can come up, like the line can be so varied. And then if you practice, you can actually get really good at making specific shapes. I don't really have any specific shapes that I practiced in here necessarily. I got really good at making stars for a while. I think what else I could say. And these were all printed by hand in the Banff Centre darkroom, so I printed these in the color darkroom while I was at Banff Centre. But this is the first time they've been shown. You can tell the points where, yeah, it's just kind of moving around, or where the brighter points were, it was held for longer. Some of them are really sharp, and then some of them are completely out of focus too, which I think I was just kind of experimenting with how it would look to be out of focus.
So all the takes are for the first chance, or you practice and then, or this is the first thing, and then?
No, because they're film. They're all like one-offs. You'll never obviously get two that are the same. But yeah, they're all just, these ones were all made pretty intuitively. But I'd say for maybe these, there's 16 here. There's probably about 3 or 4 rolls of film I chose from. So maybe there's, yeah, like 40 or 46 or something in total like that, and I chose these 16, but I think the methods I used to choose them are pretty arbitrary. And even kind of the placement of them, I have these printed in a portfolio book of mine, but they're all in a completely different order, and some of them are facing different, so I find that doesn't really matter to me. Some of these I gave specific instructions on which would go up and which would go down to the framer, but then he ignored my instructions and like hung them in a different way. But I find that it doesn't really bother me.
So you say how long it takes you to come with one of the images? Like,
oh, these probably range anywhere from like a 3-minute to a 5-minute exposure each. But then, yeah, this is just kind of this ongoing body of work that I do continuously, but I'll stop for a while and then I'll kind of get inspired to do more of them. But most of my other work, photography work, is generally kind of landscape or portraiture. Those are kind of general terms, but I don't know how else to explain it. But yeah, it's kind of on its own, you know. Most of my work is not abstract.
So the moon in this case had to be full all the time, or no?
No, it doesn't have to be full. It just has to be, like in some cases it's full and it's cloudy. So like this is kind of like a cloudy night, or it's not quite full and it's cloudy, but it has to be bright. Like it has to be really, really visible. Where it's not. In other ones, it's, you know, like this is probably the full moon that night. And it's not as cloudy, and the moon is brighter and closer in the sky. So, because these were all taken with the same camera and the same film, so it's at the same focus. So, the ones where the line is thicker, the moon is either fuller or it's lower in the sky, closer to where I am. Because there's nothing in the camera that changes.